It's 2023 and there are literally hundreds if not thousands of water bottle brands to choose from that initially can appear very similar. With such a saturated market, you might be wondering what is the best water bottle today? But really, that's an impossible question to answer since different bottles are better for different situations. The better question to ask is, which water bottle is best for you based on how you plan to use it? In this video, we're going to review more than you ever thought you needed to know about water bottles to help you narrow down which brand and bottle type is the best fit for you. First, we'll talk through some questions you should ask yourself before you get started. Second, we'll give a quick overview of some of the more popular water bottle brands in today's market and what are some of their main selling points as well as some downsides. And third, we'll give our recommendations for various uses like best for hiking, best for commutes, and best all around. First, a few things to note. We're reviewing a fairly arbitrary selection of 13 brands and 15 bottles. It's a decent number of options, but there are way more out there that could be compared. We can only do so much in one video, and this is meant to be a good starting point. We're primarily focusing on the more established brands, and we are exploring a few non-mainstream brands, but for the most part, we'll stick to the big dogs. We also mostly stick to insulated stainless steel bottles with wide mouth openings, with a few notable exceptions. Dual wall vacuum insulated bottles are very popular in today's market, and we generally like wide mouth bottles more than narrow mouth ones. See our other video for more about why. Two of the bottles we'll talk about have triple layer insulation. Many people think this means 3 layers of stainless steel, but it actually refers to a layer of copper. We won't go into much detail about that distinction in this video, but we have another video in the works that focuses entirely on insulation where we'll test them to see if these triple layer bottles really hold up. And lastly, our recommendations are mostly based on our own opinions. Let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree, and especially if you have other thoughts or considerations that could help other buyers hone in on the best bottle for them. As always, we'll have links to the products in the description. If you make a purchase after clicking the link, we get a small referral fee. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and every little bit helps our small business. We really appreciate the support. Now enough with this ridiculously long intro, let's get down to it. Before you even look at any bottles, ask yourself these questions. Where will you primarily use it? Around the house or at work? On your commute so you need something that's easy to use in the car? On hikes? There will always be some crossover use, but think about how you'll use your bottle most of the time. What will you be drinking? Water bottles don't need to just be used for plain water. Many people use them for tea, coffee, fruit infusing, or adding ice, and some bottles are better for those than others. How important is branding to you? This is directly related to cost, since most of the prominent brands like Hydro Flask and Yeti come with higher price points than brands like Nalgene and Iron Flask. What type of lid do you prefer? Most lids fall into 4 basic categories: standard, straw, spout, and sip. Standard lids that you screw on and off completely are a good starting option that come with most bottles, but they don't offer many additional advantages. Straw lids are the easiest to drink from, but they are typically harder to clean. Spout lids are pretty good all-around options and are generally an improvement over standard lids. And sip lids are best when used with coffee, tea, or other hot drinks. And finally, think about how much volume you will need. According to the University of Missouri, a good rule of thumb is to take your weight in pounds, divide it in half, and the result is how many ounces of water you should drink per day. Use this to calculate how many ounces you should drink per hour, and then consider how easily you can refill your bottle. When taking all of these factors into account, you should be able to get a good idea of which volume water bottle makes sense for you. And if your main use will be hiking or some other physical activity, there are some other factors to consider like heat and elevation gain. Check out our video where we do a deeper dive into this topic. Now let's look at some of the more popular bottles and brands, starting with Nalgene. Nalgenes are lightweight, inexpensive, dishwasher safe, and they come in many color options. And while all of the bottles in this review are pretty durable overall since most are made of stainless steel, Nalgenes are also much more dent resistant because of the plastic construction compared to stainless steel bottles, which can dent more easily. Nalgene is also the only bottle brand we looked at that is made in the USA. Some drawbacks are that they only come in plastic, they don't have a built-in handle if you don't count the tether for the lid, they don't have an insulated version, and there aren't many options to choose from for lids. It doesn't feel like the brand has innovated like others have, which has left Nalgene struggling behind other bottle brands in many aspects. But they still make a great, dependable bottle at an affordable price point, which makes it a good option for many people. Clean Canteen has a mix of insulated and non-insulated bottles. Non-insulated Clean Canteens are lighter than dual wall bottles, and they have a simple design that is very easy to clean. They're also notable for how the standard cap has steel on the bottom, so your water never touches plastic. Most other stainless steel bottles on the market, including Clean Canteen's own TK Wide series, have plastic under the lid. Some drawbacks are that we don't like the standard loop caps very much, and they aren't insulated. Clean Canteen recently came out with their TK Wide insulated bottles. They have a range of well-engineered lids that feel unique compared to other brands. The rigid handle feels very sturdy, and one unique benefit is the impact base cap on the bottom. This is a hollow cap that absorbs an impact if you drop your bottle, which lessens the chance that a dent could affect the vacuum insulation. This is one of the easier bottles to clean because the threads on the bottle are made of small bumps in the stainless steel instead of traditional thread grooves. Some downsides are the overall bulk, both in terms of weight and size for a 32-ounce bottle. We also wish the spout cap was a little easier to keep out of the way. You have to snap it onto the metal handle, which isn't as easy as some other bottles like Takea, Camelback, and FJ. There aren't too many color options for Clean Canteens, so keep that in mind if you're looking for your own style. Yeti is in the top tier for brand prestige and therefore cost. They are notoriously expensive, but their products are generally very high quality, which has led to a devoted following of fans and supporters. There are 6 lid options for their Rambler series wide mouth bottles, so you can pick what's best for you. Downsides are definitely the cost, but also that these bottles are heavier than some comparable ones on the market. Hydro Flask is the brand that really catapulted dual wall insulation into the mainstream, and they're also a top tier brand on par with Yeti. Their bottles come in a wide range of colors, and they have a good range of well-engineered caps and accessories to choose from, though some are better than others. We love the Flex Straw, but we're not huge fans of the Flex Chug. You can expect to pay a premium for any Hydro Flask, but the customer service is very good and the company stands behind their products. Another Hydro Flask bottle that's good to know about is their Trail Series lineup. These bottles have the same great insulation, branding, and look, but Hydro Flask really focused on reducing the weight of the bottle so it's easier to hike and get around with. This makes it one of the best insulated bottles for hiking compared to really heavy options like Clean Canteen's TK Wide and Yeti's Rambler. Takea Actives is a good mid-range alternative to Hydro Flask. The spout lid is a great design with a wide handle, a spout cap that locks out of the way for when you need to take a drink, and a nice textured grip. It also comes with a matching bottle boot to protect your bottle from dents and scratches. There aren't many downsides, and this is a jack-of-all-trades kind of bottle, but some people do prefer rigid handles instead of the hinged Takea design. Iron Flask is an Amazon-focused knockoff of Hydro Flask, but they're notable for a few reasons. They come with 3 cap options. They're good basic caps, but they do feel more standard and less engineered than Hydro Flask's lid options. Iron Flask is definitely a good brand to consider if you're looking for unique color options, including gradients. Thermoflask is a bottle brand we've always thought was a ripoff of Takea, but while editing this video, we found out that's because Thermoflask is a brand registered by Takea. So if you notice a lot of similarities between the two, that's why. But one difference we've noticed is that Thermoflask seems to have more 2-pack options available on Amazon, which means you can get an even better value. There don't seem to be as many color options though. Stanley has been around a long time, but in recent years it has had a major resurgence thanks to their Quencher series insulated tumblers. The main difference between this bottle and every other bottle on this list is the built-in handle on the side. Most of the other bottles have handles on the lid, but Stanley's side-mounted handle, while not our personal favorite, is a big hit with many people. It's also more tapered at the bottom like a classic tumbler style, so it fits in more cup holders without needing an adapter. The biggest downside is the overall bulky design. Yes, this is easier to manage because of the handle and the tapered base, but it's still a very bulky bottle. Real quick, if you're still watching and are finding this video helpful, please give us a quick like. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Thank you. CamelBak is a well-known brand that really made a name for themselves with hydration bladder packs for biking and on longer hikes, but they also have released some solid bottle options as well. They are more reasonably priced than some other well-known brands like Hydro Flask and Yeti, and the Shoot Mag bottles in particular are very popular because of the magnets that lock the spout cap back when you go to take a sip. We're not huge fans of the hinge design though, as it doesn't flip open as smoothly as other spout caps like Takea and FJ. Many bottles on this list can be difficult to distinguish at first glance, like Hydro Flasks, Iron Flasks, Takeas, and Thermoflasks. On the other end of the spectrum, you have Swell, which is another high-end brand on par with Hydro Flask and Yeti. The aesthetic design and sleek look are the main selling points, and they've also come out with many narrow mouth lids, including a filter cap that's unique to this list. They are also the first brand we've talked about that has triple wall insulation. However, they are pretty expensive, and there aren't many lid options for their wide mouth Traveler series bottles. The next brand is FJ. Quick disclosure, they reached out to us and sent us a bottle to test. We told them we would only cover the bottle if we liked it, but after using it for a few weeks, we can honestly say that we like this bottle way more than we thought we would. It's right up there with Takea for our favorite spout style lid. Like CamelBak's Shoot Mag, it uses magnets to keep the spout cap out of the way when you're taking a drink, but the hinge design is much better and is easier to open, especially if you're just using one hand like when you're driving. The spout cap also takes the least amount of turning to unlock compared to any of the other spout lids, which is also helpful when driving. There's a silicone grip pad on the bottom that keeps your bottle from sliding around and protects against some scratches, though not on the outside edges. There's also a strap on the side, and we've ended up using this strap all the time. They also included a brush with each bottle to help with cleaning right out of the gate. One downside is that the spout cap doesn't flip out of the way as much as Takea's version, but you can either tilt your head more or angle the bottle to get around this issue. Also, the rigid handle on top is a little small, but in our opinion, the strap on the side more than makes up for this. Overall, we honestly do like this design, and it might become our go-to bottle for a while. Steepware's Everest tumbler was made primarily for one thing, and that's brewing tea. And they really do have a good product for this purpose. There's a built-in tea strainer that you can use for loose leaf tea, or you can use it as an ice strainer if you're looking for a cooler drink. The strainer is pretty big too, so there's quite a bit of surface area for your loose leaf tea to steep. You could always take out the strainer and use it like a regular bottle, but the larger strainer is really the feature that sets this bottle apart. The last brand we're discussing is EcoVessel. Their Boulder series bottles might have the most features and accessories packed into one bottle that we've seen yet. It has a strainer for ice and fruit, comes with a silicone bottle boot to protect the base of the bottle, and has triple layer insulation. Some drawbacks are that the strainer is smaller compared to Steepware's version, so it's not as good for loose leaf tea, especially in larger 32-ounce bottles. We're also not huge fans of the lid tethers that double as handles in general, but that's more of our own personal preference, and at least the EcoVessel design has a wider tether compared to Nalgene. It's hard to put our finger on it, but the construction feels cheaper in a way compared to some other bottles we've reviewed. But with so many extra features at a reasonable price, this bottle has a lot going for it. Now let's move on to our recommendations by category. We'll give you a few of our favorites, and we encourage you to check out each one to decide which is the best fit for you. Let's start with some recommendations based on use. For hiking, we like Nalgene's because they are lightweight, but we highly recommend getting a carrying pouch like this one because the lid tether isn't much of a handle. For insulated bottles, FJ is a great choice because it has both a rigid handle and a strap, and the lid is the spout style that we prefer when hiking. When it comes to sporting events, there are some different considerations compared to hiking. You don't have to worry as much about the weight of the bottle, and you don't have to carry it around for long distances. Because of these reasons, it really opens the door on the number of bottles that we recommend, and we really think you should just get a bottle with a spout cap. This cap style lets you get a good amount of water quickly without it splashing all over your face. Our favorite spout cap bottles are Takea and FJ, and keep in mind that Thermoflask has a 2-pack option with a lid that's nearly identical to Takea's. Hydro Flask and Yeti have pretty good spout cap design options that many people love, but they're not our favorites for varying reasons. Honorable mention in this category goes to EcoVessel's Boulder series bottles because they have spout caps and you can use the strainer for ice. For road trips and driving in general, we like straw lids because you don't need to tilt your head back and potentially take your eyes off the road. Stanley's Quencher is a good choice because it has a large volume, but it still has a better chance of fitting in your car's cup holder. We also like Hydro Flask's Flex Straw more than most other straw lids because it's easier to clean thoroughly without popping off the spout. If you want a bottle that doesn't fit in your car's cup holder, like a large Hydro Flask in most cases, consider buying our Bottle Pro Max cup holder adapter, which fits any of the bottles on this list. We don't recommend using standard lids when driving because it's so easy to splash water all over your face. Spout or sip caps are okay if you're not into straw lids, but we recommend getting one that's easier to use one-handed. For example, FJ and Takea's spout lids are a lot easier to open one-handed than Camelback's design, and the spout caps are attached so you can't accidentally drop it like you could with Yeti or Hydro Flask. For shorter commutes to and from work, we'd wager you're probably drinking coffee or tea. Any sip style lid is pretty good for this, but we really like Hydro Flask's Flex Sip lid in particular because, like with their straw lid, their sip lid is really easy to disassemble for cleaning. Yeti's Hot Shot lid is another good option too because you can take a sip from any angle. And you're probably okay with a smaller bottle like a 16 or 20 ounce, which means you're less likely to need a cup holder adapter. For general use around the house or office, it's really up to you. Any of these bottles can be a good option since you can probably refill it easily, and the lid style doesn't need to factor as much into your decision compared to other situations like driving. The Stanley tumbler is a good one to consider though because of the big handle. Next, let's look at some recommendations based on what you're drinking. The best bottle for loose leaf tea or coffee infusing is without a doubt Steepware's design, with EcoVessel coming in second because the strainer is much smaller and is really better for blocking ice or fruit instead of brewing tea or coffee. For wide mouth Hydro Flasks and similar bottles like Iron Flasks and Thermoflasks, you can also look at our Flavor Fuse steel infusers. They come with a small and large size infuser, and they are specifically designed to fit wide mouth Hydro Flasks. For ice, EcoVessel is a good option because of the built-in strainer. Other spout lids can have ice cubes sneak out once they melt down some, Straw lids are also a good option, and as mentioned before, we really like Hydro Flask's Flex Straw. If you have a Hydro Flask with a standard flex lid, you can also use our Splash Pro Splash Guard. We designed it specifically for Hydro Flask lids, so it fits around the insulation. For fruit infusing, you can go with Steepware or Eco Vessel and add the fruit so it's loose behind the strainer. Alternatively, try our FlavorFuse Pod Fruit Infuser. Just add fruit into it, pop on the lid, then drop it into any wide mouth bottle. Our FlavorFuse Straw Infuser is a really cool option too for Hydro Flask straw lids. Just slide it and snap it onto the straw. And while this isn't something you want to infuse, we also wanted to highlight which bottles do the best job of limiting how much plastic touches your water. Nalgene's are the only all-plastic bottles in our video, but most of the other bottles also have exposed plastic under the lid that can touch your water. The only bottles that have all stainless steel interiors, including under the lid, are Clean Canteen's non-insulated bottles and Eco Vessel's Boulder series. Now for the best bottle by style of lid. We've mentioned these before, but we wanted to review them again so it's easy to see them side by side. For spout lids, we love Takea and FJ. They're a little different from each other, but they both do several things well. The spout cap is easy to open, stays attached so you can't drop it, and locks into the open position easier than some other designs. They are also easier to carry around because of Takea's good handle and FJ's strap. For straw lids, we really like Hydro Flask's Flex Straw because it's the easiest straw lid to clean more thoroughly without having to pop off the spout. For sip lids, we also like Hydro Flask's version, the Flex Sip, because it's easy to disassemble for cleaning. Yeti's Hot Shot is another good one to consider too because you can sip from any angle. To round things out, we have some general recommendations. The best value bottles in our opinion are Nalgene, Iron Flask, Thermoflask, and FJ because they're more affordable, but they are still great at what they do. The best aesthetic design goes to Swell, and brands like Iron Flask and Hydro Flask are great options too, with so many color choices. The best brands in terms of brand power in today's market are Yeti and Hydro Flask, with an honorable mention to Stanley and Swell because of their unique designs really being core to their brand. And finally, we thought about giving our recommendation for best all-around bottle, but we decided against it because of the countless variations for each person, like budget, preference, lifestyle, and plenty of other factors. For us, we will probably use the FJ bottle because it impressed us so much, but we encourage you to make your own decision. If you made it to this point in the video, you've already heard more than you ever thought you needed to know about water bottles, so hopefully you have a better idea of which bottle will work best for you. And that's it. Again, the product links are in the description, and of course there's the whole YouTube spiel, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff if this video helped. And if you're interested in learning more about hydration and the ever-expanding world of water bottles and containers, stay tuned because we've got more videos planned. Thanks for watching.